She made a scene at the cafe and scolded the wrong millionaire. Of course, it's him. Ridiculous red suit, slicked back hair, and a flower in the lapel, she muttered to herself, hiding behind the window of the fancy cafe on Park Avenue. On the other side of the glass was a man in a bright red suit and a blonde woman laughing far too loudly. This was Mark, her best friend Lisa's fiancé, cheating in broad daylight. Scarlett wasn't one to watch injustice in silence. She marched toward the entrance, heels echoing on the marble floor. A waiter tried to stop her, but she dodged him like a heat-seeking missile. She stopped right in front of the table, took a deep breath, and shouted, "Mark, you rotten, shameless cucumber. You cheap traitor. As if cheating on Lisa wasn't enough, now you dress like this. Who do you think you are? The Santa Claus of betrayal. And you, ma'am, no offense, but don't you think you're a little too old for him? My friend is young. Truly young. No Botox." The man blinked, confused. The woman choked on her tea. "Excuse me, who are you?" "Don't pretend you don't know me, Mark. I'm Scarlett, Lisa's friend." The woman chuckled with a refined accent. "My dear, you just yelled at the wrong man. This is my son, Grant Costa. We don't know any Lisa. He's not engaged to anyone." Scarlett's eyes widened. She looked again. Green eyes, not Mark's. Narrower nose. Darker hair. She slowly turned her head to another table 2 rows back, where the real Mark, also in a red suit, was laughing with a blonde woman. He slipped away quietly when he saw her. "Oh," she said, barely a whisper. "Well, that's kind of embarrassing." But before Scarlett could run out, the older woman stood up with a gleam in her eyes. "What's your full name, dear?" "Scarlett Miller." She took Scarlett's hand firmly. Scarlett Miller. A star's name. A storm of a personality. "You're perfect." "Perfect for what?" "To set my son straight. I'm Elena Costa, mother of the rotten cucumber. And my dear, if anyone on this earth can straighten this boy out, it's you. You surround yourself with fake socialites and yes-men in suits, Grant. Today, for the first time in years, someone told you the plain truth. Is this really happening?" Scarlett blinked. "Yes." "And tell me, are you single?" "Yes, but what?" "Perfect. Scarlett Miller, you're going to marry my son." The entire cafe choked. "Is this some kind of prank?" "Not at all. I'm completely serious. You are exactly the kind of woman my son needs. Spontaneous, honest, hilarious, and bold enough to yell in a crowded cafe. Mom, this is insane. You don't even know her." "We know enough. Grant, if you don't marry her, I'll disown you. And Scarlett, if you don't accept, I'll sue you for defamation for calling my son a rotten cucumber in front of 36 witnesses." "Fine, I accept," Scarlett said, resigned. "Excellent. Tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the Madison Avenue Registry office." 20 minutes later, Scarlett was at the apartment she shared with Lisa, telling her the whole story. Wait, Lisa grabbed her hand. "You're telling me that Mark was cheating on me and some rich lady decided you were perfect for her son just because you yelled at him in public?" "Basically, yes." "And you agreed to marry him?" "She threatened to sue me. What was I supposed to do?" Lisa started laughing uncontrollably. "Only you, Scarlett. Only you could turn revenge on a cheater into an arranged marriage." She grabbed her phone. "If I'm going to be maid of honor at a whirlwind wedding, I might as well get rid of my own problem first." She called Mark and broke up with him on the spot, exposing his cheating. The next day, the ceremony lasted exactly 15 minutes. They signed papers, exchanged a few required words, and that was it. They were officially married. They didn't even exchange rings. 2 hours later, Scarlett was at Grant's apartment in Carnegie Hill. The place was stunning. High ceilings, huge windows with a view of Central Park, and modern and expensive decor. The guest room is down the hall to the right. It has its own bathroom. Guest room. You didn't think we'd be sharing a bedroom, did you? This is a marriage of convenience, not a honeymoon. In the following days, an odd routine began. Grant left early for work, came home late, and they barely saw each other. But when they did, it was always a comedy of small misunderstandings. On the first morning, Scarlett almost set the apartment on fire trying to use the high-tech stove. Grant came running down in his pajamas. That's a $15,000 professional stove. $15,000 for a stove? You could have bought a car. I have 3 cars. On the second day, Scarlett rearranged the living room. Grant came home and found all the furniture in different spots. Grant, you had the books organized by color. By color? Who does that? Organized people. People with no imagination. Look, now they're sorted by topic. Much more useful. You're going to drive me crazy. Probably. But at least you won't die of boredom. Meanwhile, Elena Costa was signing important documents. I want 20% of Costa Tech shares transferred to Scarlett Miller Costa today. She doesn't even know your son is the president of the company, does she? Her lawyer asked. She'll find out at the right time. When she does, I want her to have real power. The papers were signed. Scarlett Miller Costa now owned a sizable share of one of New York's biggest tech companies without having any idea. The following Monday, Scarlett returned to work at the Meridian Hotel. What she didn't expect was to find Mal Fada Winters, her college rival, now her new boss as general manager. Scarlett Miller, what a wonderful surprise. Still working as an event coordinator, I assume. I didn't know you were in New York. A lot has changed. I was promoted to general manager 2 weeks ago, which means I'm now your boss. Then Mark, Lisa's ex, appeared. He had been hired as the hotel's financial consultant. Over the following weeks, Mal Fada and Mark teamed up to make Scarlett's life miserable. They changed her shifts, assigned impossible events, and questioned her decisions publicly. During a major corporate event, they pulled their most humiliating stunt. Mal Fada told Scarlett the event started at 7 p.m. when it was actually scheduled for 6. When Scarlett arrived an hour late, she found angry clients and chaos. Scarlett, where were you? The event started an hour ago. You told me it was at 7. 6 o'clock, dear. It's been on the schedule since the beginning. Mark appeared, holding a tablet. I can confirm that. Here's the original schedule. Despite arriving late, Scarlett managed to organize everything perfectly. The event was a complete success, but the damage to her reputation was done. The next day, Mal Fada called her into her office. Scarlett, we need to talk about your performance. I'm considering firing you. You can't fire me over a misunderstanding. We can and we will, Mark replied, unless you have some influence we don't know about. At that exact moment, the office door opened and Elena Costa walked in wearing a pink Chanel suit. Excuse me, I'm looking for my daughter-in-law, Scarlett Costa. The office fell completely silent. Mrs. Costa, what are you doing here? I came to see how you're adjusting to work, dear. And from what I heard in the hallway, not very well. She turned to Mal Fada. You must be the manager. I'm Elena Costa, chairwoman of the Costa Group, owner of this hotel. Mal Fada turned pale. You're threatening to fire my daughter-in-law over a misunderstanding about the schedule? Elena pulled a folder from her purse. I just signed your promotion to Vice President of Hotel Operations, effective immediately. What? Mal Fada and Mark exclaimed together. That means Scarlett is now your superior, Mal Fada. And Mark, your services as a consultant are no longer needed. You're fired. She doesn't have the qualifications to be vice president. She does now. And if you have a problem with that, you can hand in your resignation letter as well. After Elena left, Scarlett looked at Mal Fada and Mark. Well, I think we have a lot of work ahead of us. Mal Fada, I need a full report on all hotel operations on my desk by 9 a.m. tomorrow. And Mark, you can start packing your things. 3 weeks after her promotion, Scarlett was adjusting to her new reality. Her office on the 12th floor had a view of Central Park and a highly efficient assistant named Patricia. That Thursday, the hotel was hosting the Hamilton Foundation Charity Gala. While supervising the setup, Scarlett heard raised voices. Sofia Ramirez, one of the hotel's most dedicated waitresses, was being accused of stealing 2 bottles of champagne. I swear on my children's lives I didn't take anything, Sofia said, voice shaking. Robert Chen, the supervisor, said coldly, the inventory was complete when you left, And this morning the bottles were gone. You're the only logical explanation. Malfada stepped in. Sofia, dear, I know your financial situation has been tough. 2 small kids, late rent. Maybe you thought selling the bottles could help. Scarlett felt her blood boil. She had known Sofia for 2 years and knew she was honest. Excuse me, what's going on here? We're dealing with a theft. Sofia Ramirez stole 2 bottles of champagne. That's a very serious accusation. Do you have solid proof? Scarlett investigated, examining access logs. She discovered James Mitchell from the cleaning crew had entered the storage room but never clocked out. She brought James in for questioning. Through careful logic, she deduced he had stolen the champagne because his wife was sick and he needed money for medication. James, that's why you left the champagne bottles in your locker here at the hotel, isn't it? So you could come back for them later when it was less crowded. James confessed. Scarlett turned to Sofia. Sofia, you are completely cleared. Your job is secure. In fact, I'm promoting you to supervisor of the special events team. Thank you for believing in me. She turned to Robert. James will be transferred to another department with reduced pay, but he won't be fired. We're going to help him find resources for his wife. Elena Costa appeared, having witnessed everything. My dear daughter-in-law, you handled this perfectly. Intelligence, compassion, and firmness. She pulled out an envelope. This is a performance bonus equal to 20% of the shares you already own. After Elena left, Malfada looked at Scarlett with shock. You really own part of the company? Apparently. And Malfada, I want you to understand something. I don't use that power to hurt anyone. I use it to protect those who deserve protection. The morning after the gala, Grant appeared at Scarlett's office. I came to invite you to something. My company is holding an accountability meeting this afternoon. Why would I go to one of your company's meetings? Do you trust me? At Costa Tower, Scarlett discovered Grant was president of the company. During the meeting, the CFO presented false documents claiming the Meridian Hotel had poor performance. Scarlett recognized the manipulated data immediately. She stood up and systematically dismantled every false claim, presenting real data in English, Spanish, and French. The executives were clearly impressed. I'd really like to know who provided these false documents and why. I received those reports from someone who identified herself as the hotel manager, Malfada Winters. Grant stood up. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to clarify a few things. First, Scarlett Costa is not just a consultant. She is the vice president of the Meridian Hotel and my wife. Second, anyone who tries to sabotage her reputation will be dealing directly with me. After the meeting in the elevator, Scarlett finally understood. You're the president of the company that owns the hotel I work for. Technically, my mother is chair of the board. I just handle day-to-day operations. Grant, why didn't you tell me? Because I wanted you to shine on your own, which you did today. That evening, Grant took Scarlett to a small Italian restaurant. The waiter, Yeppy, sang romantic songs and lit candles at their table. Grant tried to eat linguine with a knife and fork like at a formal dinner, ending up with sauce on his chin. Scarlett laughed harder than she had in months. After dinner, they walked through the village streets. Grant stopped at a fountain. Scarlett, when my mother suggested we get married, I thought she'd completely lost her mind. But I was wrong. These past few weeks, watching you work, seeing how you stand up for those who need it, you made me realize I'd been living only half a life. I fell in love with you. Truly. Are you sure? Absolutely. The question is, do you feel anything for me other than pity for the guy who can't eat spaghetti properly? She laughed. Grant, you're annoying, obsessive, completely unspontaneous, and you organize books by color. But you're also kind, smart, and you make me feel like I can take on the world. And that means I might have fallen for my crazy husband too. He leaned in to kiss her, but tripped on the edge of the fountain. Most romantic moment of my life, and I nearly fell into a fountain. Idiot, she said affectionately, pulling him close. This time when he kissed her, there were no stumbles. Grant, what if we went home? Home together? For real? That night, Scarlett and Grant's arranged marriage finally became something real. 2 weeks later, Scarlett's family visited. Her father, Robert, showed Grant his antique furniture restoration business. Grant immediately saw the potential and offered a $200,000 partnership, keeping the family in control with 70% ownership while providing tech consulting and resources to expand. "Partner, you've got a deal," Robert said, shaking Grant's hand. Scarlett's mother, Margaret, pulled her aside. "Honey, I want to apologize for how things were when you left home. You were right to follow your own dreams. I'm proud of you." 6 weeks later, Scarlett discovered she was pregnant. Grant was overjoyed. That was also the week Melissa Hawthorne, daughter of a rival business empire, tried to proposition Grant for a merger that included marriage. He firmly rejected her. "I'm happily married. I love my wife. I'm not interested in mergers, partnerships, or any arrangement involving you." Elena later told Grant about Scarlett's background. "Before she married you, she had $5,000 in her checking account, shared a tiny apartment, and worked 60 hours a week. If she were a gold digger, she'd be the worst one in history." At the Manhattan Business Elite Gala, Grant's father, Marcello, tried to pressure him into leaving Scarlett for Melissa. But Elena intervened dramatically. "Grant's future is already decided. He's married to Scarlett. They're expecting my first grandchild, and they're perfectly happy." Elena pulled out divorce papers. "Marcello, after 35 years of marriage, I'm divorcing you. For years, I've watched you try to control our son's life. When you disrespected my daughter-in-law and tried to break up a happy marriage, that was the last straw." She pulled out another document. "Grant, Scarlett, I'm transferring all my Costa Tech shares to Scarlett. That means she now controls 55% of the company. Scarlett, my dear, you are now the majority owner of Costa. Congratulations." As the new owner, Scarlett called Malfada to her office. "Malfada, you're fired. Effective immediately." But then she handed her a letter of recommendation and a 3-month severance package. Everyone deserves a second chance. And holding on to resentment only hurts the one who carries it. "Malfada, you have the potential to succeed, but you need to stop seeing other women as enemies. How can you not hate me after everything I did? Because hate is a weight I choose not to carry. Your anger wasn't really about me. It was about a world that made you believe there was only room for one of us." 6 months later, 7 months pregnant, Scarlett was surprised when Grant took her to the rooftop of Costa Tower. The space had been transformed into a magical garden with golden lights and rose petals. "Scarlett, 8 months ago, we got married because my mom forced us. Today, I want to marry you again, but this time out of love, by choice, because I can't imagine my life without you and our family." He got down on one knee with a diamond ring. "Scarlett Miller Costa, will you marry me for real this time?" "Yes, of course I will." Elena appeared, having orchestrated the whole surprise, complete with a photographer. 3 weeks later, they had a real wedding in Central Park with 200 guests. Scarlett wore an exclusive design that fit her pregnant belly perfectly. When the officiant asked if they took each other as husband and wife, there were no doubts, no threats, no convenience. "I do," they both said, with tears in their eyes and genuine smiles on their faces. During the reception, Elena raised her glass. "Sometimes destiny needs a little push. But in the end, love always finds a way." Lisa gave her maid of honor speech. "You two are proof that the best marriages start with the most unlikely stories." That night, Scarlett and Grant fell asleep in each other's arms, knowing they had found something rare and precious, a love born out of chaos, strengthened through adversity, and blossomed through mutual understanding. And somewhere in the city, Elena Costa smiled in her apartment, content in knowing that sometimes, just sometimes, interfering in your children's lives can lead to something wonderful. What did you think of Scarlett and Grant's story? Share your thoughts in the comments. On a scale from 0 to 10, how would you rate this story? Subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you don't miss any of our stories.